Hello, music fans. You're watching Death by Unicorn, where we talk about metal, rock, and prog music. And this is New Music's Alive in 2025. I'm going to talk about 4 new albums that came out recently in May 2025, near the end of the month, and give my quick first impressions of them. And yeah, it's been about 9 days or 10 days or so since I posted my last video. Usually I post weekly, but I've been busy lately, just moved to a new place, so you might see a new background behind me. I haven't set up any. Maybe I'll set up some band posters or something on that wall back there. Should have the cool backdrop or something. So it's looking pretty bare right now, but got into the new house, moved, so that's good. Happy about that. And now I want to talk about these 4 albums that I've been listening to that came out recently in my order of preference, starting with Rivers of Nihil and their self-titled album. This is the 5th album by this American band. It's progressive metal with technical death metal influences. And I'm going to put this one in my excellent tier. I thought their last album was excellent as well, called The Work. And the singles I heard from this new self-titled album were excellent as well. So I expected more greatness here. Their lead vocalist from their previous albums, Jake, is no longer in the band. So their bass player, Adam Biggs, stepped up to do lead vocal duty, and they got Andy Thomas, formerly of Black Crown Initiate, on rhythm guitar, doing backing vocals. Pretty sure he does the clean vocals and Adam Biggs does the harsh vocals. So with this cool vocal duo that they have now, this album focuses even more on catchy choruses and clean vocals. With some tracks being so anthemic, they reminded me of Killswitch Engage choruses, some of the catchier works that they do. And I'm still not sure if I like this album better than their last album, The Work, but it's very close to that in quality, very well done. They still retain some of that technical death metal brutality. So when they go hard, they can go hard like bands like Archspire and Obscura with intense brutality, heaviness, and technicality. And then they also have the progressive leanings that you hear sometimes in bands like the Faceless and Black Crown Initiate. But they've also added the newer dimension of these catchier choruses and hooks that make them more anthemic and more accessible to mainstream listeners, like a Killswitch Engage. If that sounds good to you, check out the self-titled album by Rivers of Nihil. Next, I want to talk about Vildhjarta and their album that will be hard for me to pronounce, but it's called Der skogen sjunger under evighetens, the 3rd album by the Swedish band. So I think that title's a Swedish title. It means Where the Forest Sings Under the Eternal Spruce Trees. And this is progressive metal, kind of gent with deathcore and post-metal influences. Some people call their sound thal. I'm not sure if that's officially a genre now, or I guess it's kind of its own sound. Their last album was very good, and I was hoping they'd outdo themselves with this new one. Like I said, I've heard people call this sound and genre thal, which is like an even more extreme version of gent, really low down-tuned guitars and syncopated riffing with harsh vocals. But also they have the odd melodic vocal part on here. I think this album is very similar to their last one, but it actually might be a bit of a step up because they added those more clean vocal hooks. I think there's more clean vocal hooks on this one than their last one, if I remember correctly. So my main critique of this band and this album is it all starts to kind of sound the same, kind of samey, but hey, I could say the same thing about Meshuggah, the pioneers of gent, and they're still great. So if you want to hear the Kings of Thal, definitely check out Vildhjarta and their new album, whose title I will not try to pronounce again. Next up is Half Past Four with their album Finding Time, the 6th album by this Canadian band. Oh yeah, I should mention Vildhjarta I'm putting in my excellent tier. Now with Half Past Four, their album Finding Time is their 6th album. They're from Canada, and it's progressive rock with jazz fusion and even maybe a little bit of metal influence, but not really, even some pop maybe from time to time. I'm putting this one in my very good tier. I've seen this band live. They put on a good show. I still haven't done a deep dive on their full discography though, but perhaps I should. They're a female-fronted, very quirky prog band with vocals reminiscent of Kate Bush, but yeah, pretty eclectic, kind of eclectic vocals like Bjork or something, over music like Gentle Giant, King Crimson, Pink Floyd, and Yes, kind of that kind of music with lots of wild playing, time signature changes, the odd kind of chunky riff that almost borders on metal, but they're definitely not a prog metal band. They're firmly in the prog rock camp. They don't really go into metal. The single Finding Time that I heard ahead of time was great. Lots of great piano on that in particular. And the whole album continues this greatness. It's solid from start to finish. This album definitely has potential to be excellent tier for me, but I'm just putting it in my very good tier for now because sometimes the vocals go a bit too far over the top on their quirkiness for my taste, and there's some parts that are a bit odd and sound a bit too melodramatic and silly for me, but it is all really fun. I still like listening to this album by 4:30. There are definitely some parts where if you're listening to this with some normal mainstream non-prog listeners, they would look at you and just say like, what the heck is this? This is crazy. But if that sounds good to you, check out Finding Time by 4:30. And last one on my list for this video is by the band Stereolab, and it's called Instant Holograms on Metal Film, the 11th album by this multinational band. They're an Anglo-French band. And this is hard to describe in terms of genre. I guess it's indie rock with psychedelic and pop and ambient and electronic, even some post-rock, progressive rock, jazz, and funk influences all mixed together. I'm putting this one in my very good tier. They use vintage electronic keyboards. Stereolab has female vocals sung in both English and French. And this is a band I've never heard an album by them before, but this is pretty cool stuff. It's not my typical style, but very interesting. It's quite a unique take on blending all these genres and styles together. So I'm going to put it in my very good tier. If that sounds good to you, check out Instant Holograms on Metal Film by Stereolab. That's it for my first impressions of these 4 new albums that came out recently. What did you think of these albums? Definitely let me know down in the comments. Did I inspire you to check any of them out? If you haven't heard them, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts if you check them out. And did I miss anything else great that came out recently that you think I might enjoy? Also let me know. And stay tuned for next time. My next video, I'll probably put up my top 10 albums of May 2025. And then weekly, I post my first impression videos like this. So on June 6th, there's going to be a lot of great new releases that I'm looking forward to talking about, from The Deer Hunter, Catatonia, Volbeat, Phase Transition, Keonashi, and Elbow. If you're interested to hear my first impressions of that, hit that subscribe button so you stay in the loop. And if you like metal, rock, and prog music, you're in the right place, so hit that subscribe button as well. And I'll see you next time. Peace out.